You are not born unbreakable. You build it. Every battle you face, mental, emotional, physical, is training. Every setback is a test of your inner discipline. Weak minds seek comfort. Warrior minds seek growth. This is your manual for mental fortitude, for becoming the kind of person who cannot be shaken, who cannot be controlled, and who never, ever breaks. This is the warrior mindset. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Stop running from discomfort. Growth only happens in resistance. Every time you avoid pain, you reinforce weakness. Every time you choose the easy path, you rob yourself of power. The truth is simple: comfort is a trap. It whispers to you. It promises rest, safety, relief. But every time you choose comfort, you lose a piece of yourself. The warrior understands this. The warrior does not seek comfort. The warrior seeks growth. Because the warrior knows comfort kills growth. Discomfort builds armor. You see, every strong person you admire, every disciplined athlete, every relentless entrepreneur, every battle-tested soldier in their strength the same way, by facing discomfort head-on. They didn't avoid it. They walked into it. They understood one truth: the more you run from pain, the weaker you become. The more you embrace it, the stronger you get. You have to stop running. You have to stop negotiating with the hard things. You have to stop looking for the shortcut. You say you want growth. You say you want strength. But the moment life gets uncomfortable, you retreat. You distract yourself. You quit halfway. And every time you quit, you teach your brain that comfort is more important than progress. That's how weakness is built, not by genetics, not by fate, but by habit. You have a choice. Right now, in every moment. You can move toward resistance or you can hide behind excuses. Let me be direct. If you want to build mental fortitude, you must become addicted to discomfort. You must learn to seek it, to crave it, to recognize that pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Think about a soldier in basic training. Every sunrise, every freezing run, every sleepless night is designed to strip away weakness. They don't complain because they understand the process. They are being built. They are being forged. And forging requires fire. Think about the athlete training past exhaustion, the entrepreneur who fails over and over again but refuses to stop. They all share one trait: an intimate relationship with discomfort. They've trained themselves to feel pain and keep moving anyway. That's the mindset you need to build. Because every time you push through discomfort, you're teaching your mind one thing: I can handle this. That's the key. The repetition of resilience. The constant message your brain learns through experience. Pain does not mean stop. Pain means grow. You don't need their permission. You don't need validation. You don't even need motivation. You need exposure. You need to expose yourself to the things that challenge you, that stretch you, that break your comfort loop. Do you know what comfort really is? It's the emotional sedation. It's the silent killer of potential. It's the invisible ceiling that keeps you average. When you're comfortable, you're dying slowly. Because comfort breeds stagnation. Stagnation breeds decay. Every warrior understands this. Discomfort is the tuition fee for greatness. You can't buy growth. You can't download discipline. You can't fake resilience. You earn it through repetition in the uncomfortable zone. That's the zone where doubt shows up, where fear tries to whisper that you're not enough, where fatigue makes you question your purpose. That's the battlefield. And that's where the warrior lives. Listen, no one is coming to make it easy for you. Life doesn't hand you strength. It gives you tests. It gives you resistance. It gives you pain. And the moment you stop running from those things, the moment you stop seeing discomfort as the enemy, everything changes. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop collapsing under pressure. You stop waiting for ideal conditions. Because you realize that the conditions are never ideal. The warrior doesn't need ideal conditions, only a mission. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. It's not about comfort. It's about control. It's not about ease. It's about evolution. So, the next time you feel discomfort, don't run. Don't distract. Don't complain. Pause, breathe, and move forward. Tell yourself, this is the work. This is where strength is built. This is where average dies and excellence is born. Think about a blacksmith. He doesn't forge a blade with a feather. He uses fire and pressure. The heat, the pounding, the repetition, it's violent. But it's necessary. Because without that process, there's no weapon. Your mind is the same. Every time you face something hard, pain, fear, fatigue, rejection, you're being hammered into something stronger. But only if you stay in the fire. Only if you refuse to quit. Comfort kills growth. Discomfort builds armor. Say it again. Comfort kills growth. Discomfort builds armor. You have to drill that into your mind until it becomes instinct. Because when the discomfort hits, you won't have time to think. You'll need to act. That's the difference between the strong and the weak. The weak negotiate with pain. The strong embrace it. So ask yourself, when discomfort shows up, who are you? Are you the person who hides or the person who fights? Because the truth is, your future self is watching you. Every choice you make in discomfort determines who that person becomes. You want to be disciplined, then stay when it's uncomfortable. You want to be confident, then act when it's uncertain. You want to be strong, then stop waiting for it to get easier. Because it won't. It's not supposed to. The warrior knows the harder it gets, the better you get. The pain you feel now becomes the strength you rely on later. So stop running. Run toward it. Seek the edge. Stand in the fire and learn to breathe. You have a choice every single day: comfort or growth, ease or evolution, weakness or power. Choose discomfort. Choose growth. Choose to build the kind of mind that never breaks. Because that's where your transformation begins. That's where the warrior inside you wakes up. You mastered your fear of pain. Now it's time to learn how to command your own mind. Chapter 2: Control your inner dialogue or lose the war. The voice in your head is your first enemy or your first weapon. Before the world challenges you, your own thoughts will. Before anyone tells you you can't, your mind whispers it first. That's where the real war is fought. Not out there. In here. In your mind. In the space between stimulus and response. And if you don't learn to control that space, it will control you. Because the truth is simple. If you can't command your thoughts, you'll never command your life. That's the key. Every warrior knows this. Every strong, composed, unshakable person you've ever met has learned one skill above all others: mental command. They have trained their inner dialogue the way a soldier trains for combat, with discipline, repetition, and absolute precision. You have to do the same. Let's be clear, your mind is not automatically your ally. It's fraught, emotional, reactive, and wired for survival. It seeks comfort. It avoids pain. It looks for safety, not growth. That's why you can't just think positive. That's why affirmations alone don't work. Because you can't pour calm words on an undisciplined mind and expect power. You must train it. You must reprogram it through daily command and repetition. You must teach it obedience. You have a choice. You can listen to the noise or you can write the script. Every time you think, I can't handle this, you have a second thought right behind it waiting to be written. That's your moment of power. That's your moment to step in and say, no, I can handle this. I've done harder things before. That's mental control. That's emotional mastery in real time. The strongest voice you hear must be your own. Not the critic, not the crowd, not the past. Your own. The voice that says, Keep going. The voice that says, do it anyway. The voice that says, this is who I am now. You can't silence the inner critic completely, but you can dominate it. You can outrepeat it, overpower it with direction. That's the discipline most people never develop. They let thoughts happen to them instead of happening through them. They think they are their thoughts. They're not. They're the observer, the commander. You are not the noise. You are the one who gives it orders. Think about the elite athlete. The moment they fail a rep, they don't say, I'm weak. They say, I'll get it on the next one. Think about the soldier under stress. They don't panic. They run the protocol. They rely on training. Their self-talk is trained, rehearsed, controlled. You must treat your mind the same way. You must build a mental playbook for when pressure hits. When you feel anxiety, your playbook says, pause, breathe, direct. When you feel fear, your playbook says, act anyway. When you hear doubt, your playbook says, prove it wrong. That's how you win. Not by suppressing emotion, but by directing it. You don't eliminate the fear, you assign it purpose. You don't silence the noise, you make it follow your orders. That's what emotional control really is. Not emptiness, not coldness, but command. Let's talk about the mental environment you live in. If your thoughts are toxic, your actions will reflect that. If your self-talk is weak, your decisions will crumble under pressure. You can't speak defeat all day and expect victory at night. You can't narrate failure and expect strength. That's why your words matter. Your internal language becomes your external life. You have to start speaking like the person you want to become, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. You have to repeat, I'm calm, I'm capable, I'm in control, until your mind believes it. Because it will believe whatever it hears most. That's the secret. That's the key. Repetition requires reality. Here's what you must do. Step 1. Notice the noise. Become aware of your self-talk. Don't judge it, observe it. Catch yourself when the old patterns start. Step 2. Interrupt the loop. When you hear weakness form in, stop it mid-sentence. Replace it with power immediately. Don't give doubt oxygen. Step 3. Reinforce strength daily. Every morning, before the world speaks, speak to yourself. Set your tone. Command your state. Don't wait for motivation, build direction for words. That's the system. Simple, repeatable, relentless. You don't need to feel strong to sound strong. You don't need to believe it at first to start saying it. The act of repetition builds belief. The act of speaking builds strength. You're not lying to yourself. When you speak power, you're training yourself. You're conditioning your mental muscle. It's not about being positive. It's about being precise. It's not about emotion. It's about direction. It's not about comfort. It's about control. There will be days when your mind feels loud, when the voice of fear screams at you, when the voice of doubt tells you to give up. Those are the days that define you. Those are the days when you must remember the strongest voice you hear must be your own. Because if you let the noise win, it will keep winning. But if you speak strength in that moment, if you anchor yourself in command, you start to shift everything. Confidence isn't magic. It's consistency. Resilience isn't born. It's built through repetition. Control isn't a gift. It's the skill. You have a choice every single day to speak like a victim or to speak like a warrior, to react emotionally or to respond strategically, to obey your mind or to lead it. The warrior mind chooses command every time. And the more you practice, the faster it becomes instinct. When stress hits, you'll pause instead of panic. When fear hits, you'll act instead of freeze. When doubt hits, you'll focus instead of fold. That's the power of mastering your inner dialogue. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's not emotional. It's disciplined. And that's why it's powerful. So today, start the training. Catch the noise. Correct it. Control it. Repeat until your inner world becomes unshakable. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your behavior. And when you master your behavior, you master your results. Remember, the voice in your head can destroy it can build you, it can feed your weakness or forge your strength. The strongest voice you hear must be your own. That's the warrior way. That's mental fortitude. That's control. You've learned to command your mind. Now, let's take that control into the next battlefield, your emotions. Chapter 3. Detachment is power. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop depending. It means you stay calm when the world around you loses control. It means you act from principle, not from panic. That's the key. The weak mind reacts. The warrior mind responds. The weak mind is emotional. The warrior mind is strategic. The weak mind needs approval. The warrior mind moves in clarity. You have a choice every moment of your life. You can act from emotion, or you can act from discipline. One keeps you reactive. The other makes you powerful. Let's get something straight. Detachment is not indifference. It's not coldness. It's not caring. It's control. It's balance. It's self-command. It's the ability to stand in chaos and think clearly. It's the ability to feel emotion without being ruled by it. It's the ability to see things as they are, not as your ego wants them to be. When you're detached, you see reality. When you're attached, you see distortion. That's why detachment is power. Because clarity is power. And clarity only exists when emotion doesn't cloud your judgment. Think about the Stoic generals of history. They made decisions while cities burned, while soldiers panicked, while chaos reigned. They didn't act out of fear. They acted out of principle. That's detachment. That's emotional control in motion. Or think about the top athlete. The clock is ticking. The crowd is screaming. The pressure is enormous. But they breathe. They stay calm. They execute the play. They're detached from emotion, attached to execution. They don't get caught in what they feel. They stay focused on what must be done. Or picture the CEO navigating a crisis. Markets crash. Investors panic. Employees lose faith. But the true leader steps back. They see the board 3 moves ahead. They make decisions not based on noise but on logic. That's the power of detachment. It's not about ignoring emotions, it's about mastering them. Most people live as slaves to their feelings. They are happy when things go their way, angry when they don't, confident when they win, broken when they lose. That's emotional dependence. And emotional dependence is mental weakness. The warrior mind can't afford that. The warrior mind stays centered because the warrior knows control is lost the moment emotion takes over. You can't fight a war if you panic every time the wind changes. You can't lead your life if every opinion shakes your focus. You have to detach from the outcome, from the noise, from the temporary emotions that pull you off mission. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop acting on every feeling. That's the distinction. That's the skill. You don't suppress emotion, you observe it. You see it rise. You acknowledge it, but you don't let it steer the ship. You are the captain, not the current. This is emotional mastery in its purest form. Not the absence of emotion, but the dominance over it. Here's how you build it. Step 1, awareness. Start noticing your emotional spikes. When do you lose control? When do you overreact? You can't master what you refuse to see. Step 2, pause. Before you respond, breathe. Give yourself a moment of detachment. 1 second of silence creates space for clarity. Step 3, refrain. Ask, what is the principle here? What matters most? When you respond from principle, emotion loses its grip. Step 4. Act with discipline. Don't chase validation. Don't chase reaction. Act because it's right, not because it feels right. That's detachment in action. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You don't need anyone's approval to be centered. You just need to make the choice to prioritize clarity over chaos. Because when you're detached, no one can manipulate you. People can't trigger what you refuse to react to. Situations can't destroy what you refuse to internalize. You become unshakable. Here's the truth. Attachment is weakness disguised as care. You're attached to how people see you. You're attached to outcomes you can't control. You're attached to your ego's need to always be right. But every attachment is the chain, and every chain is self-imposed. Detach from the outcome and your anxiety fades. Detach from the opinions and your confidence grows. Detach from the noise and your focus sharpens. That's the formula for power. Less attachment, more control, less emotion, more precision. When you stop depending on everything around you, you start depending on yourself. And that's when true stability begins. The warrior mind doesn't swing with every emotion. It doesn't shatter with rejection. It doesn't crumble when plans change. It acts. It adjusts. It moves forward with calm certainty. Because the warrior's emotions serve them, they do not rule them. So ask yourself what owns your focus. Who can steal your peace with a word, a look, or a comment? Every person who can do that still owns a piece of you. Detach from them. Reflame your energy. Reflame your authority. It's not about ignoring the world. It's about no longer being controlled by it. That's what detachment gives you: freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from overreaction. Freedom from emotional slavery. That's what power feels like, not loud, not dramatic, but calm. The quiet strength of someone who cannot be shaken. You have a choice: to live by reaction or to live by reason, to be ruled by feeling or to rule through clarity. Choose clarity, choose composure, choose control. That's the way of the warrior. The world will always test your emotions, but you will not react. You will not break. You will move with precision. You will move with purpose. That's detachment. That's power. You've learned to separate emotion from action to stay composed when chaos hits. Now, it's time to channel that discipline into something deeper: the habit of relentless execution. You've learned how to stay calm. Now, you'll learn how to move forward no matter what. Chapter 4: The Discipline of Doing It Anyway. Motivation fades. Discipline endures. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Because everyone loves the idea of improvement until it's time to do the work. Everyone loves to talk about goals until it gets uncomfortable, until it gets boring, until it gets hard. That's where the difference between the average and the unstoppable begins. The average waits to feel ready. The unstoppable acts ready or not. That's the key. That's the warrior mindset. The warrior doesn't depend on emotion. He depends on discipline. He doesn't wait for the right mood. He executes, no matter what. You have to understand motivation is temporary. It's emotion. It's unreliable. It's a spark, not a strategy. Discipline is permanent. It's habit. It's structure. It's who you are when the spark dies. You can't build a strong life on unstable emotion. You build it on daily action, on repetition, on follow through, on the decision to do it anyway. Do it anyway. Say it again. Do it anyway. You're tired. Do it anyway. You're uninspired. Do it anyway. You're not in the mood. Do it anyway. Because the moment you stop negotiating with your emotions, you become unstoppable. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. The amateur needs to feel like it. The professional just does it. And you don't need anyone's permission to become the professional of your own life. You don't need motivation. You need a system. Think about a soldier. He doesn't get to decide whether he feels like training today. The mission demands action. The mission doesn't care about mood. Think about the athlete who trains when no one's watching. When motivation is gone, routine takes over. That's what greatness is built on, consistency without conditions. Or think about the person building a business from scratch. There are no guarantees, no applause, no comfort. But they show up day after day, brick by brick. Why? Because they understand a simple truth: discipline builds freedom. When you stop being controlled by emotion, you start controlling your life. It's not about being robotic. It's about being reliable to yourself. Because every time you say, "I'll do it later," you weaken your own trust. Every time you break your word to yourself, you destroy your credibility with your own mind. That's why you feel stuck. That's why progress feels impossible, because you've taught your brain that your words don't mean anything. Discipline reverses that. Discipline rebuilds self respect. When you do what you said you'd do, especially when you don't feel like it, you send a message to your mind: I keep my promises. I am in control. And that's when transformation begins. You have a choice every single day: to do what's easy or to do what's necessary, to wait for the mood or to act with purpose, to stay average or to rise above. Most people let their feelings decide. But feelings are fickle. They shift with the wind. Discipline doesn't care about the wind. Discipline walks forward through the storm, through the doubt, through the excuses. Because that's what real strength is, doing it anyway. There's a saying: discipline equals freedom. It sounds backwards, but it's true. Because the person who lacks discipline is a slave to emotion, to laziness, to impulse. But the person who has discipline is free. Free from chaos, free from procrastination, free from regret. You might not like it in the moment, but the payoff is peace. The pain of discipline is short. The pain of regret lasts forever. You can live with one. You can't escape the other. Let's make it practical. How do you build this kind of discipline? Step 1. Lower the negotiation. Stop asking yourself how you feel. Stop having the debate. Don't give emotion a vote. The decision to act must be automatic. When it's time to move, move. Step 2. Build the routine. Structure is the container for strength. Create systems so your actions don't depend on mood. Make the decision once, and then just follow the plan. Step 3. Reward consistency, not intensity. It's not about going hard once, it's about showing up always. Celebrate the small wins. Discipline grows when you acknowledge progress. That's the process. That's how warriors are made, not for motivation, but for momentum. Understand this: discipline is not punishment, it's empowerment. It's the foundation of all confidence, all success, all freedom. Because when you know you'll act regardless of emotion, life becomes simpler. Decisions become easier. Fear loses power. You stop being tossed around by mood swings and external noise. You stop saying, "I'll do it when." You start saying, "I'll do it now." That's the voice of discipline. That's the voice of the warrior. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need inspiration. You don't need more time. You need to start. You need to execute. You need to do it anyway. Because the discipline to act, especially when you don't want to, is the single greatest form of mental toughness. It's proof that you've taken control back from your emotions. It's proof that you are in charge of your mind, not the other way around. So the next time you hear that lazy voice say, "Not today," answer it with force. Today is exactly the day. Then move. Don't overthink. Don't rationalize. Don't wait. Just move. Every action you take builds evidence. Every act of discipline reinforces your identity. You're not trying to be disciplined, you're proving that you already are. You have a choice. Stay stuck in the loop of waiting for motivation, or rise into the rhythm of relentless discipline. The warrior doesn't wait to feel ready. He doesn't need motivation. He doesn't need permission. He acts. He executes. He wins. And when it's hardest to move, that's exactly when movement matters most. Do it anyway. Because every time you do, you grow stronger. Every time you do, you silence the weak voice inside. Every time you do, you build the unbreakable mind that this world cannot shake. That's what discipline really is: consistency under pressure, execution without emotion, action without excuse. You've learned how to act without permission. Now it's time to master something deeper: the art of staying calm while everything around you burns. You've learned to do it anyway. Now, let's learn how to stay in control when emotions flare. Chapter 5: The Art of Emotional Control. The moment you lose control of emotion, you surrender your power. Let that sink in. Every outburst, every overreaction, every impulsive word, each one costs you control. Each one drains your energy. Each one gives your power away. The warrior cannot afford that. The warrior operates with precision. He doesn't react, he responds. He doesn't get emotional, he gets effective. That's the key. Emotional control isn't about being cold. It's about being calculated. It's not about suppressing feeling. It's about mastering expression. The warrior feels everything, but he decides what to do with those feelings. He doesn't let emotion dictate his choices. He uses emotion as information, not instruction. That's the art of emotional control. You don't kill emotion, you command it. You have to understand something most people never will. Emotion is fuel. But if you don't direct it, it burns you. Anger can be power or poison. Fear can be protection or paralysis. Sadness can be reflection or surrender. You choose what emotion becomes. You have a choice. The difference between chaos and control is 1 second, one breath, one pause. That's why I say pause before power. When you pause, you regain command. You shift from reaction to response, from impulse to intention. Most people never pause. They explode. They overreact. They regret. Then they call it passion. But passion without control is just chaos. The warrior pauses. The warrior observes. The warrior decides. He's not controlled by how he feels, he's guided by what's right. That's emotional mastery. Look around. People destroy relationships because they can't control anger. They quit their goals because they can't control frustration. They waste years chasing validation because they can't control insecurity. Emotion runs their life and they wonder why they never win. You don't need to kill your emotions. You need to train them. Like a weapon. Like a muscle. Like a mind under command. That's the work. That's the discipline. Think of a soldier under fire. Bullets flying. Adrenaline pumping. If he panics, he dies. If he stays calm, he leads. Think of an athlete in the final seconds. Crowd screaming. Heart pounding. The weak choke. The disciplined focus. Think of a leader in crisis. Markets crash. Pressure rises. The emotional panic. The warrior plans. The difference isn't talent. It's control. The ability to stay calm under pressure, that's real strength. You might think, but I can't help how I feel. Run. You can't stop emotions from arriving, but you decide whether they stay. Feel the anger, but don't feed it. Feel the fear, but don't follow it. Feel the sadness, but don't sink into it. You are not your emotions. You are the commander observing them. That's the mindset shift. That's the power. Let's make this practical. Here's how you build emotional control. Step 1: Awareness before action. You can't control what you don't notice. Before you react, catch the emotion. Name it. Okay, this is anger. This is fear. This is ego. That pose gives you leverage. That's your window of power. Step 2, breathe before battle. When emotion spikes, your breathing shortens. Control the breath, control the body. Control the body, control the mind. Before you speak, before you act, breathe deep. Center yourself. That's your reset. Step 3, respond with intention. Ask yourself, what's the outcome I want? Then act toward that, nothing else. Emotion wants to win the moment. Discipline wants to win the war. That's the difference between reaction and response. That's the difference between weakness and wisdom. It's not about pretending you don't feel. It's about refusing to be ruled by what you feel. When you're angry, don't explode, channel it into action. When you're afraid, don't freeze, focus on preparation. When you're hurt, don't shut down, use it to grow stronger. That's how warriors move. They transform emotion into energy, pain into precision, chaos into clarity. You don't need less emotion. You need more control. There's a quote from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the foundation of Stoicism, and it's the foundation of the warrior mind. You don't control the world. You control your response to it. That's the only control that matters. Because when you control your response, you control the outcome. When you control your emotion, you control your destiny. That's not philosophy, it's practical dominance. Every argument that drains you, every insult that hooks you, every trigger that distracts you, they only have power if you react. Emotional control is not weakness. It's not detachment from humanity. It's the opposite, it's maturity. The warrior feels deeply, but he channels emotion through discipline. He acts with precision, not impulse. He doesn't explode. He executes. He doesn't take things personally. He takes things seriously. That's strength. That's leadership. That's mastery. You have to train this daily. Every trigger is a test. Every insult is an opportunity. Every delay is a lesson. You don't need to win the argument. You need to win the moment. You don't need to prove them wrong. You need to stay in control. Remember, the loudest person in the room usually has the least power. The calm one controls the room. The calm one controls the outcome. That's who you must become, the calm in the chaos. You have a choice. You can keep reacting, keep losing power, keep letting emotion run the show. Or you can rise above. You can pause. You can breathe. You can respond with strength and clarity. That's what separates the impulsive from the powerful. That's what separates noise from mastery. You have a choice. And that's the key. Emotional control is the invisible armor of the warrior. It's what protects you from manipulation. It's what keeps you centered in conflict. It's what makes you untouchable in chaos. When you master this, you stop being controlled by circumstance. You become the calm eye in the storm. That's real power. That's the power no one can take from you. You've learned how to pause before power. You've learned that the warrior feels but acts deliberately. Now, let's go deeper. Let's talk about the true foundation of consistency. The force that keeps you moving forward when everything else stops. Chapter 6, Endure, build the muscle of mental pain. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. That's the first truth you need to understand. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the instructor. Pain is the forge. Every great warrior, every great leader, every great creator has one thing in common. They learned how to endure. They learned to keep moving when every part of them screamed to stop. They learned that suffering isn't a signal to quit, it's a signal to grow. That's the key. That's how mental armor is built. You can't grow without resistance. You can't become unbreakable by avoiding struggle. Every time you avoid pain, you reinforce weakness. Every time you face pain, you reinforce power. The mind is like a muscle. It grows under pressure. It strengthens through struggle. You can't think your way into resilience, you have to endure your way into it. That's why the warrior mindset is rare. Because most people want comfort. The warrior wants capability. Most people pray for easy. The warrior trains for hard. Endure now. Strength later. Say it again. Endure now. Strength later. That's the rhythm of growth. That's the beat of progress. Think about the Navy SEALs. They don't just train their bodies, they train their minds to stay calm in chaos. When the ocean freezes their skin, when exhaustion clouds their thoughts, they don't break. They breathe. They adapt. They endure. That's nuts for humans trained. They've built endurance like a muscle, rep by rep, moment by moment. Or think about ancient monks. They sat in silence for days, fasting, meditating through hunger, boredom, and pain. Why? To learn mastery over mind and body. Or endurance athletes who run 100 miles for blistered feet and bloodied legs. They aren't chasing distance. They're chasing depth, the edge of human will. They understand something most people will never grasp. Suffering is not the end, it's the beginning. You have a choice every time pain shows up. You can retreat or you can rise. Pain says, stop. Discipline says, continue. Pain says, this hurts. Strength says, that means it's working. It's not about the pain, it's about your response to it. That's what defines you. You can run from discomfort, or you can build endurance. You can choose temporary relief, or you can choose permanent strength. You have a choice. Endure now. Strength later. Pain will test you. It will expose your limits. But it will also reveal your potential. If you quit every time it hurts, you'll never see what you're truly capable of. If you push through, if you endure, you'll meet the strongest version of yourself on the other side. That's how the warrior is made. Through repetition, through resilience, through the deliberate embrace of difficulty. You have to train your mind to say, I can take more. Train your mind to find calm inside chaos. Train your mind to keep walking through the storm, even when the ground cracks beneath you. Because that's where transformation hides, inside the discomfort you keep avoiding. Here's what you need to remember. The body breaks before the mind does. The mind quits long before the body reaches its limit. That means you can go farther than you think. You can last longer than you believe. You can endure more than you imagine. But only if you stop listening to the voice that says, I can't. That voice is fear. That voice is comfort. That voice is weakness disguised as logic. You don't need to argue with it. You need to outlast it. Endure now. Strength later. Let's make this practical. Here's how you build the muscle of mental pain. Step 1. Reframe the signal. When discomfort hits, don't label it as suffering, label it as training. Instead of this hurts, say, this is where I get stronger. Pain stops being punishment when you see it as preparation. Step 2. Extend the threshold. When you want to quit, don't. Stay 1 minute longer. Do one more rep. Take one more step. Every time you stretch that edge, your capacity expands. That's how endurance is built, not in giant leaps, but in small defiant acts. Step 3. Ritualize the heart. Face challenge daily. Cold showers, long runs, early mornings. Don't wait for hardship, invite it. Because voluntary suffering makes you unshakable when life brings involuntary suffering. That's how warriors train. That's how strength becomes second nature. Endurance is the rhythm. It's not about one massive effort, it's about steady defiance over time. Pain comes in waves. Let it. Breathe through it. Don't resist, endure. You can outlast the wave. Because pain is temporary. Strength is permanent. Remember, suffering doesn't destroy you, quitting does. You don't need motivation. You need endurance. You don't need comfort. You need consistency. That's the difference between fragile and formidable. Most people think success is about winning. It's not. Success is about lasting. The ones who last win. The ones who endure evolve. The ones who persist prevail. That's the truth of mental toughness. It's not flashy. It's not loud. It's quiet, consistent endurance. The warrior doesn't brag about his pain. He trains through it. He doesn't dramatize struggle. He internalizes it as fuel. Because endurance isn't just surviving, it's growing stronger through survival. You have a choice. You can stay where it's safe, where it's easy, where nothing tests you. Or you can move toward the fire. You can embrace the pressure. You can train your mind to outlast pain, doubt, and fear. Every time you endure, you prove something to yourself. You prove you're stronger than circumstance. You prove you're in control. You prove you're becoming the warrior you were meant to be. Endure now. Strength later. Say it until it's your mantra. Say it until it's your identity. Endure now. Strength later. Pain will come. That's guaranteed. But how you respond, that's your choice. You can fight it. You can fear it. Or you can endure it. Because on the other side of pain lies clarity. On the other side of struggle lies strength. And on the other side of endurance lies freedom. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Remember that. Because the warrior's mind doesn't fear pain. It respects it. It learns from it. It uses it. That's how you build the muscle of mental pain. That's how you become unbreakable. You've learned how to endure, how to turn pain into preparation and suffering into strength. Now it's time to explore what sustains that strength over the long haul. The discipline that requires no audience, no applause, no validation. Chapter 7: The Power of Relentless Focus. The scattered mind is a weak mind. The warrior mind is precise, sharp, and unwavering. In a world full of noise, distraction is the true enemy. Not fear, not doubt, not failure. Distraction. You can't win a war if your attention is dividing. You can't hit a target if you keep changing your aim. Focus is power. Ruthless focus is domination. That's the key. Every weak person has one thing in common. They chase too many things. They start everything. They finish nothing. They want to be everywhere. They end up nowhere. But the warrior, he chooses one target. He locks in. He eliminates everything that doesn't serve the mission. That's the discipline of focus. One goal, one focus, one mission. Say it with me. One goal, one focus, one mission. You have to understand this. The mind was not built for multitasking. It was built for mastery. Every time you divide your focus, you divide your strength. Every time you scatter your energy, you weaken your impact. You can't go deep if you keep moving sideways. Depth creates power. Depth creates results. That's why the warrior simplifies. He cuts the noise. He chooses one direction and commits to it completely. You have a choice to live diluted or to live direct. Focus isn't natural anymore. We live in a world designed to steal it. Every app, every notification, every piece of junk content, it's all engineered to hijack your attention. They call it entertainment. It's really distraction training. And the more you indulge it, the weaker your mind becomes. You have to fight for focus now. You have to guard your attention like it's gold because it is. Your attention determines your destiny. Where your focus goes, your future follows. That's not philosophy. That's physics. Look at any high performer soldiers, SOs, athletes, creators. Their environments are simple. Their priorities are clear. Their focus is absolute. A Navy SEAL isn't thinking about 10 missions at once. He's thinking about the one in front of him. An elite athlete isn't chasing 5 sports. He's mastering one. A world-class entrepreneur isn't trying every idea. He's scaling one. That's why they win. not because they do everything, but because they do one thing with total commitment. One goal, one focus, one mission. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. You don't need more goals. You need more discipline. You have a choice every day, every hour, every moment. You can chase everything, or you can build something. You can live reactive, or you can live intentional. You can scroll your life away, or you can lock in and create something that matters. That's the difference between noise and greatness. Let's make this practical. Here's how you build ruthless focus. Step 1: eliminate the unnecessary. Make a list of everything you're doing. Then ask which one truly matters. Cut the rest ruthlessly. No hesitation. Every yes to distraction is a no to purpose. Step 2: schedule deep work. Set blocks of time where nothing else exists. No phone, no conversation, no interruptions. Train your mind to stay in one lane for long stretches. That's how focus becomes a habit. Step 3: build the one target rule. Choose one mission for this season of your life. Not 5, not 3. 1. Channel every ounce of energy toward it until it's done, until it's mastered. One goal, one focus, one mission. Repeat it until it roars your mind. Here's the truth: you don't rise by doing more, you rise by doing less, better. You don't need 10 strategies. You need total clarity on one. Because scattered effort creates scattered results. But concentrated effort creates unstoppable momentum. That's what most people never understand. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse business with purpose. They're running but not advancing. They're working but not winning. The warrior doesn't confuse motion for mastery. He focuses on impact, not activity. That's the key. Every time you feel pulled in 100 directions, pause. Ask yourself what truly matters right now. Then direct every ounce of energy toward that. If it doesn't align with your mission, it's noise. If it doesn't move you closer to your goal, it's distraction. Cut it. Delete it. Walk away from it. You don't owe the world your attention. You owe your mission your focus. That's how you reclaim control of your mind. That's how you separate yourself from the masses drowning in distraction. Focus is a muscle. It weakens with neglect. It strengthens with use. Every time you resist distraction, your focus grows sharper. Every time you choose depth over dopamine, your mind grows stronger. Every time you finish what you start, your confidence multiplies. That's how warriors train their minds through deliberate, repeated acts of focus. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Consistency compounds. Focus compounds. And soon, what once felt difficult becomes your default state. You have a choice. You can live like most, addicted to distraction, drowning in noise, chasing everything and achieving nothing. Or you can live like the ruthlessly focused, calm, and directed. You can keep chasing or you can start creating. You can keep reacting or you can start executing. You can keep dividing or you can start conquering. One goal, one focus, one mission. That's how warriors win. That's how the mind becomes a weapon. Because focus is not about doing more. It's about becoming more by doing less deliberately. When your focus sharpens, your path clears. When your path clears, your actions align. When your actions align, your results accelerate. That's how momentum is built for ruthless clarity and relentless execution. And that's what this chapter was about: eliminating noise, sharpening your mind, and directing every ounce of energy toward one clear target. You have the formula now. Now it's time to protect what you've built, to guard your power and move in silence. Chapter 8: The Strength of Silence. Noise is weakness. Silence is mastery. The loud man wants attention. The disciplined man wants results. The loud man seeks validation. The silent man seeks victory. You can hear the difference in their energy. One is desperate to be seen. The other doesn't care who's watching, he's too busy building. Move in silence. Let your results make the noise. That's the key. In this world, everyone is talking. Talking about goals. Talking about plans. Talking about success. But talk is cheap. Words don't move the needle. Action does. The more you speak, the more you lay energy. The more you reveal, the more you invite resistance. Silence protects power. You don't need their approval. You don't need their applause. You don't need their permission. Move in silence. Let your results make the noise. Understand this: silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It's restraint. It's awareness. It's the space between reaction and response. It's the line between chaos and clarity. Weak people fill silence with noise because they fear being unseen. Strong people embrace silence because they know their presence speaks louder than words. It's not about being cold, it's about being composed. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. When you master silence, you master yourself. Think about history's warriors, leaders, and great minds. The Stoics, the Samurai, the monks, the generals. None of them wasted words. Marcus Aurelius wrote thousands of thoughts, but only for himself. Miyamoto Musashi, undefeated in 61 duels, said almost nothing. Real killers don't broadcast their intentions. The tiger doesn't announce its hunt. It moves quietly, efficiently until the strike. That's how you must live. Move in silence. Let your results make the noise. Modern culture has it backward. People overshare their every foot. They leak energy through attention seeking. They announce goals they haven't earned. You see it every day: empty motivation, empty declarations, empty talk. They tell the world they're grinding, but you don't need to tell anyone when you're truly locked in. Because the real grind doesn't post. The real grind doesn't brag. The real grind builds. Noise feeds ego. Silence feeds mastery. That's the difference. You have a choice. You can perform for validation, or you can prepare for domination. You can talk about it, or you can be about it. Every time you feel the urge to explain yourself, to defend yourself, to prove yourself, ask, what would silence do right now? Silence doesn't argue. It demonstrates. Silence doesn't react. It responds. Silence doesn't chase attention. It commands respect. That's the power of control. That's the discipline of silence. There's a psychological reason this works. When you speak less, people listen more. When you withhold, you create mystery. When you act without explaining, you create authority. That's how influence works. The less you say, the more they wonder. The more they wonder, the more they watch. And when you finally deliver, your results echo louder than any words ever could. Silence isn't emptiness, it's leverage. Let's make this real. Here's how to build the discipline of silence. Step 1: stop announcing your moods. Keep your plans to yourself. Let action be your statement. The moment you talk about it, you weaken your momentum. Step 2: refuse to argue with mediocrity. Never waste energy defending your vision to those who don't see it. They don't need to understand. Your results will educate them later. Step 3: build private victories. Win in silence before you win in public. Stack quiet wins daily. You don't need an audience, you need consistency. Step 4: control your emotional volume. When you're angry, stay calm. When you're excited, stay grounded. When you're doubted, stay focused. Emotional silence is mental power. Understand this: silence doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean weakness or fear. It means you've learned to operate above noise. You're not reactive. You're strategic. You're not chasing validation. You're creating proof. When others waste time speaking, you're sharpening your craft. When others perform online, you're performing in real life. You don't need to tell the world what you're doing. They'll see it when it's done. They'll feel it when your work speaks for itself. Move in silence. Let your results make the noise. The truth is, most people can't handle silence. Because silence reveals everything. It exposes your insecurities. It amplifies your thoughts. And that's exactly why you need it. In silence, you hear your truth. In silence, you find your strength. In silence, you learn who you are without the noise of approval. It's not comfortable, but it's real. And that's where transformation happens. It's not about avoiding sound, it's about mastering your state. Silence is the foundation of emotional control. When you can sit still in silence and feel at peace, you've already won the inner war. You have a choice. You can chase attention, or you can chase excellence. You can fill the air with noise, or you can fill your life with proof. One leads to ego, the other leads to power. The loud man demands to be heard. The silent man is impossible to ignore. That's the difference between noise and command. It's not about pride, it's about presence. It's not about showing off, it's about showing results. Move quietly, build steadily, rise silently. Then, when the time comes, let your roar. That's the rhythm of mastery. That's the sound of control. So the next time you feel the need to explain, post, or prove, don't. Hold your tongue. Hold your power. Remember this: silence is your advantage. While others talk, you'll execute. While others seek validation, you'll build dominance. You don't owe anyone your noise. You owe yourself your focus. Move in silence. Let your results make the noise. Because true power doesn't announce itself, it arrives. Quietly, unapologetically, completely. You've learned to focus your energy. Now you've learned to guard it. You've built the mind of a warrior, calm, deliberate, and disciplined. But there's one final layer to mental toughness: mastery over time itself. You've controlled emotion and energy, now it's time to control pace. Chapter 9: Turn Pain into Purpose. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. Every hardship, every scar, every failure carries a message if you choose to listen. You have a choice. You can let pain destroy you, or you can let pain define you. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. That's the key. The warrior doesn't avoid pain. The warrior transforms it. He doesn't ask, why me? He asks, what now? Because he knows this truth: pain only has power over you when you refuse to learn from it. You see, pain is life's most honest teacher. It strips away your illusions. It exposes your weaknesses. It reveals the parts of you that still need work. When everything feels easy, you learn nothing. But when life hits you hard, you learn everything. The lessons that shape you are not found in comfort. They're found in chaos, in heartbreak, in failure, in loss. The moments that cut the deepest are the same moments that forge the strongest steel. Pain is not your punishment, it's your preparation. You have to reframe how you see it. Stop labeling pain as bad. Stop running from it. Stop wishing it away. Pain is not there to ruin you. It's there to reveal you. Every great person you admire, every athlete, every leader, every warrior was built in pain. They didn't get there because life was kind. They got there because life was cruel, and they turned cruelty into fuel. They turned heartbreak into hunger. They turned setbacks into strength. They turned rejection into resilience. That's how transformation happens. Think about the soldier. He trains through exhaustion. He marches through pain. His body springs, but his mind stays sharp. Think about the athlete. Every rep hurts. Every sprint burns. But he doesn't stop because he knows growth hides behind pain. Think about the entrepreneur. He fails publicly, loses money, faces humiliation. But he returns smarter, sharper, stronger. That's the pattern of progress. Pain, reflection, adaptation, evolution. That's the cycle of strength. You have to decide what your pain will mean. Will it be the reason you stop, or the reason you start again harder? You can't always choose what happens to you, but you can always choose what it means to you. That's your power. You can choose to see betrayal as a reason to close off or as a reason to raise your standards. You can see failure as proof that you're not good enough or as proof that you're still in the fight. You can see heartbreak as loss or as liberation. The event doesn't define you. Your response does. It's not about pain, it's about perspective. When you change your relationship with pain, everything changes. Pain becomes your coach, not your curse. It becomes feedback, not failure. It becomes strength training for the soul. Every challenge you endure expands your capacity to handle more. Every storm you survive builds armor you'll use later. That's why the warrior doesn't pray for an easy life. He prays for the strength to handle a hard one. He understands that the weight of pain is what gives him muscle. The pressure is what creates precision. Pain is not something to escape. Pain is something to absorb and transform. You want to know the truth. Some of the best things in your life will come from your worst moments. The heartbreak that forced you to grow up. The rejection that redirected you toward something better. The failure that humbled you enough to finally focus. It doesn't feel like it now, but pain is rearranging your priorities. It's burning away the unnecessary. It's refining you into something stronger. You have to trust that process. You have to tell yourself over and over, pain is not my enemy, it's my teacher. Say it until you believe it. Say it until the fear fades. Say it until the lesson reveals itself. You have a choice. You can let pain keep you bitter, or you can let it make you better. You can let it drain you, or you can let it drive you. The weak resent pain. The strong respect it. The wise learn from it. And the warrior uses it. He doesn't waste energy asking for fairness. He doesn't wait for sympathy. He knows pain is the price of purpose. That's the deal life offers: pain now, strength later. So the next time pain knocks, don't hide from it. Invite it in. Listen. Learn. Here's what you do when pain finds you. Step 1, feel it. Don't numb it. Don't run. Don't fake strength. Feel it fully. Pain felt is pain process. Step 2, name it. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? There's always a lesson hidden beneath the discomfort. Step 3, frame it. Write it down. Turn it into a mantra. Pain is not my enemy, it's my teacher. Repeat it until it becomes your truth. Step 4, use it. Take the energy pain gives you and aim it forward. Channel it into your training, your work, your mission. Every time life hurts, you respond with progress. That's how you win. The key is this: pain gives you power when you give it purpose. When you treat it like an enemy, it drains you. When you treat it like a teacher, it grows you. Pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your strength. Your scars are not shame, they're symbols of survival. Proof that you faced the fire and made it through. Don't hide your scars. Honor them. They are your armor now. You have a choice. You can drown in pain, or you can rise with it. You can let it bury you, or you can use it to climb. The warrior chooses purpose. He turns pain into direction. He turns wounds into wisdom. He turns suffering into strength. Because pain, when mastered, becomes power, and purpose, when born from pain, becomes unstoppable. So the next time life tests, you stand tall. Look pain in the face and say, "Thank you for the lesson." Then move forward, stronger, sharper, harder to break, because you've learned what most never will. Pain is not your punishment. Pain is your preparation. You've learned to harness pain as a weapon. Now it's time to master the patience to wield it wisely. You've turned pain into purpose. Next, you'll learn to turn time into power. Chapter 10. Never break, adapt, evolve, conquer. Breaking is a choice. Adapting is a mindset. The warrior bends, but he never collapses. He adjusts. He evolves. He endures. That's the key. You will fall. You will fail. You will get hit harder than you expect. But breaking, that's optional. Because resilience isn't about never falling, it's about refusing to stay down. It's about standing back up with more clarity, more strength, and more purpose than before. That's the warrior way. Life will test you. Not once, not twice, but constantly. It will push your limits. It will strip away your comfort. It will try to convince you that you're done. But you're not done until you decide you're done. You have a choice. You can surrender, or you can adapt. The weak look for rescue. The strong look for lessons. The warrior looks for ways to evolve. That's how you conquer. Adaptation is survival. In nature, in battle, in life. The strongest species isn't the fastest. It isn't the smartest. It's the one that adapts the fastest. That's true for you too. Every time life changes, you change with it. Every time circumstances shift, you adjust your strategy. You don't cling to what was, you master what is. That's how you win. You don't need ideal conditions. You create them. You don't need permission to pivot. You just move. When the plan fails, you build a new one. When the door closes, you carve your own path. When the storm hits, you lean into it and push through. That's evolution. That's control. That's power. Adaptation begins in the mind. It starts with the simple question: how can I use this? Not why did this happen? Not who's to blame. Just how can I use this? That's the mindset of the unbreakable. They don't waste time wishing things were different. They take what they're given and turn it into an advantage. When they lose money, they gain wisdom. When they lose comfort, they gain resilience. When they lose people, they gain independence. It's not about loss, it's about leverage. You have a choice. You can see every obstacle as the end, or you can see it as the evolution of your strength. That's the difference between breaking and becoming. You've already built the foundations. You've learned emotional control. You've learned discipline. You've learned endurance. You've learned silence and focus. Now, this is the final lesson: fusion. When control, discipline, endurance, and purpose unite, you become unstoppable. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop complaining. You start commanding. You stop fearing change. You start adapting to it faster than anyone else. That's mastery. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about mastering transformation. When you can bend without breaking, you've become something rare, something dangerous. You've become adaptable. Real warriors don't hope for calm seas. They train for storms. Because storms are inevitable. The question is not if you'll face hardship. It's how you'll face it. The average person panics. The warrior adjusts. When life shifts, he pivots. When plans collapse, he rebuilds. When pressure increases, he sharpens his focus. He never breaks because he never resists reality. He flows with it. He uses it. Like water, soft yet unstoppable. That's the essence of strength. Adaptability is not weakness. Adaptability is tactical intelligence. Let's make this practical. Here's how to become unbreakable. Step 1: expect change. Don't fear it. Anticipate it. Every new challenge is a new test, one you were built to pass. Step 2: adjust fast. Don't cling to old plans. Don't get emotional about what's gone. React with logic. Shift your focus. Move with speed. Step 3: keep moving. Even if the pace slows, never stop. Forward motion, no matter how small, keeps you in the fight. Step 4. Evolve through reflection. After every hit, analyze. What worked? What didn't? Then adapt again. This is how you forge the mindset of resilience for repetition, for reflection, for refinement. Breaking happens when you resist the truth, when you refuse to adjust, when you hold on to what's no longer serving you. Adaptation happens when you surrender ego and embrace growth. It's not about pride, it's about progress. You can't stay the same and survive. You can't cling to comfort and grow. Every season demands a different version of you, and the warrior is always evolving. That's why he never breaks, because he's never static. He's fluid. He's strategic. He's grounded in purpose but flexible in approach. That's power. That's discipline. That's the essence of the warrior mindset. Listen carefully. Life doesn't reward the loudest. It doesn't reward the smartest. It rewards the most adaptable, the one who learns, the one who endures, the one who keeps rising when everyone else collapses. That's you. You've learned to control emotion. You've learned to command it. You've learned to act without permission. You've learned to endure without complaint. Now you must learn to evolve continuously, relentlessly, endlessly. Because that's what makes you unbreakable. You will fall. That's inevitable. You will face loss, betrayal, failure, and pain. But you will rise. Every single time. Because you've trained your mind to see no defeat, only data. No pain, only progress. No ending, only evolution. You're not fragile. You're forged. You're not fearful. You're focused. And when the world breaks under pressure, you adapt, evolve, and conquer. That's the code. That's the rhythm. That's the truth. Fall. Rise. Adapt. Conquer. That's the warrior way. Say it until it becomes your reflex. Say it until it becomes your identity. Fall. Rise. Adapt. Conquer. That's how you survive every season. That's how you turn every loss into a lesson. That's how you build the kind of mind that nothing, absolutely nothing, can destroy. You've completed the transformation. You've built mental fortitude. You've learned emotional control. You've mastered quiet discipline. You've become what few ever will, a warrior of the mind. Remember this truth: the mind that adapts never breaks. The mind that endures always wins. And the mind that conquers itself conquers all. Fall. Rise. Adapt. Conquer. That's the warrior way. Every weakness you have exposed itself for a reason, to show you where to grow. Every doubt, every failure, every moment of pain has been training you for one thing: to become unbreakable. The warrior mindset isn't a theory, it's a choice you make every single day. To stay calm when chaos hits. To move forward when you're exhausted. To stay silent when others seek attention. From this moment on, you do not run from discomfort. You do not bow to emotion. You do not wait for motivation. You act with purpose. You endure with strength. You lead yourself. Because from this point forward, you are no longer fragile. You are forged. You are a warrior. Now go prove it.